Do video games make good movies? That is the question we're here to discuss today. I'm David Hatfield. This is Max Scoville.
Hello.
Max, I'm of the mind that video games do not make good movies.
I would argue that they don't necessarily, not that they do, yet that they could.
First, let's examine the evidence. Almost 25 years of video game movies, beginning with Super Mario Bros. In 1993. There have been 30-some video game movies since then. Not a single one has been good.
Well, I agree with you on a certain level. I think that games as a medium require interactivity. They are about making the player take control, and as such, video game movies frequently have characters who are kind of lame because they're meant to be sort of a vessel for players to get they're more avatars than they are real characters.
Sure.
We've seen, games kind of expand incredibly as storytelling mediums, but that doesn't necessarily mean that games that have good stories would make good movies. We've heard about, The Last of Us and Uncharted being turned into movies on the basis that they do have good stories. I think that's a terrible idea because we already have The Road and Children of Men for a Last of Us movie, and we already have, Indiana Jones and plenty of other action adventure movies to kind of tackle that Uncharted thing. But I think that you could totally make a good video game movie if it was taking a game that has a unique world and story.
For example?
BioShock. I think BioShock would make a fantastic movie. I think Zelda has enough of an iconic universe that you could make a cool Zelda movie. I think a live-action Pokemon movie could be pretty amazing. But it has to be something that's made with the intent of telling a story rather than just, being a power fantasy or, something that hinges on exploration.
Well, so why do you think they haven't been able to successfully do it right yet?
I think because video games kind of did evolve from being sort of, toys meets software, whereas Hollywood is seen as this big kind of publicly accepted medium, they kind of jumped the gun on making their own movies on their own terms. You look at Super Mario Brothers, that scared Nintendo off of making movies ever since, because they were like, hey, we don't actually care about Super Mario. Let's make a movie that uses this license and just kind of screw it up in the process. I think the Mortal Kombat movie is a lot of fun, and I think that honestly, it's not good,
that's
but
what
it's
I'm saying.
fun.
Yeah,
I think the fighting games actually are really good because they are a bunch of free-floating characters.
A lot of unique characters with crazy stories.
I think you could revisit Mortal Kombat and make a totally worthwhile movie.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be smart by any means, but it would be fun.
I think video games are interactive, and that's what's cool and unique about them, that you don't really need to try and translate to take the interactivity out of it. And now it's a passive thing. Now just watch this moderately amusing story passively. That's why it doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
So we have Assassin's Creed coming later this year, but this year already we've had Warcraft, Ratchet and Clank, and Angry Birds. And none of them really resonated.
Well, Warcraft resonated pretty big with Warcraft fans and in China.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, it seemed like it was a lot of fan service. Meanwhile, Angry Birds is like, what's there to work with? It's a mobile game.
Both of those movies, for Warcraft and Angry Birds, don't they seem like they're several years too late? Like those games, the apexes of those games were a long time ago.
Yeah, that seems fair enough. I think often there's such a kind of confusing logistical process to take some immensely successful game and turn it into a movie.
Yeah.
They want to get it right, and maybe that takes too long in the process.
And then Ratchet and Clank was just sort of a ho-hum, sort of a boring kids movie.
I mean, the game was great,
Yeah, the new game was great.
The game based on the movie based
That's what
on
I'm
the game.
saying, just play the game.
Yeah. Then, of course, we also got apparently a Metal Gear movie still in the works. That'll be really interesting because that's an immensely cinematic series, and I don't think Kojima's involved with that.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's also that new Tomb Raider, which I have faith that could work.
I mean, that's, like you were touching on earlier, that's an adventure story that you would imagine could work in a feature film, but it hasn't so far. Have you played Inside yet?
I haven't.
Inside is a hot new video game, and it tells this amazing story. It's a master work in wordless storytelling. But again, if you removed me from the experience, and I'm not controlling the boy, I'm not solving the puzzles myself and experiencing all that myself, it wouldn't be nearly as entertaining if I'm just sitting back and watching it. Another problem is that video games tend to be 40-hour long affairs, and then you're gonna try and condense that down into a movie. So maybe what they should be trying to do is turn these into TV shows, something that excels at long-form storytelling.
I could be down with that.
I think we solved it here today, folks. Video games should not be movies, they should be TV shows. No, really, what do you guys think? Do video game movies work? Could they work? Let us know in the comments. And for more on all things video games and movies, stay tuned next year.